Now we'll talk a little bit about backing up your data, backing up a database, making an archive copy of a database. First of all, why would you want to make a backup? Why would you want to make an archive copy? Well, it's very simple. We're working with computers here. This is computer data. This is data stored on a computer hard drive. And if you've worked with computers at all, you'll know that every computer pretty much at some point is going to suffer some sort of data loss, some sort of data corruption. However good you are, however great you are at maintaining your computer, computers are not 100% fail-safe. So it may be, one day out of 1,000, maybe one day you might have had a computer for 10, 15 years, but you're going to be spent a lot of time, you'll do a lot of work, and that one day is the day that you'll have a problem with your computer, a crash, some data will get corrupted, and you won't be able to get that back. And the only way to be safe about this, to be prepared for this, is to make regular backups of your data. And I cannot stress this enough. Backup, backup, backup. It's such a good thing to do. Just with everything, not just your chess stuff. Backup. You get another hard drive, get a friend's computer. You can back up online nowadays. There's services that let you back up online. You can back up to DVDs or CDs. Just make sure you're backing up your data so that if the worst happens, it could be anything from you spill a drink on your computer, the cat jumps on the computer, you've got kids who wreck the computer, or you have a flood in your house, or anything like that, anything at all. If it's me, I quite often buy external hard drives, and I get through them at a rate of knots because I tend to put them on the edge of my desk and then knock them onto the floor, and I'm pretty dumb like that. So backup, backup, backup. It's such an important thing. All your data. But let me show you now. Now rant is over. Let me show you how to back up a ChessBase database. Very simple process in ChessBase. So click on the database that you want to back up. Obviously the process will take a little bit longer with the big databases, things like the Mega database or my Twig database with over 1 million games, and that's got over 5 million games. So I'm just going to show you on a smaller database with over 2,000 games in. There's a few different ways you can do it. You can just right click and go to Tools, and go to Backup Database, but the simplest thing to do is go to the Maintenance tab and click the big button here for Backup Database. You can see the little hint, compress all files of a database into a single archive file. You can also do that by pressing Ctrl and Z on your computer keyboard. All do the same thing. In many cases with ChessBase and with Fritz and all those ChessBase products, you'll find there's more than one way to do something. And just the same with backing up your database, you can back it up a variety of different ways. But this is the way I'm going to show you now. Just click on this button to backup database. They use the word backup and archive pretty much interchangeably, but that's fine. What you're making is an archive, a backup of the database, and this is what you want to do. So it brings up the archive database window, and you've got two options. Do you want to do a crypted one, which means it's encrypted or password protected, or an uncrypted one? Well, unless you're a really top player with some absolutely secret opening preparation, then there really isn't a good reason to password protect or to encrypt your database, to encrypt your backups. And the reason I say this is because if something happens and you enter the passwords here and you forget your passwords down the line, then there's really nothing that anyone can do. I can't hack into it. The guys at ChessBase can't hack into it. There's no backdoor. So make sure whatever you do that you only password protect if you absolutely need to, and you know you're not going to forget that password. But I mean, for 99.999% of users, I'm going to say uncrypted is the way to go. I never password protect my databases because let's face it, no analysis I'm going to do is going to be worth stealing. So we've got uncrypted selected, and we're going to click OK. That brings up a familiar Windows Explorer window, the Save As window. It's defaulted to this folder, the My Work folder in ChessBase. But think on, you want to save this database, this backup, this archive, to a different folder. Don't save it to the folder where your original database is, because that means if you open that backup and that archive by accident, or you just click on it by accident, then it's going to overwrite your newer database. So you want to save this preferably to a different drive altogether, but if not, save it to a different part of your computer. Ideally, you want to save it to something like save it onto a flash drive, a DVD, an external hard drive, or like I say, you could even save it to a file and email it to a friend. At least that way you know that there's a backup somewhere of your work. Just make sure you back it up somewhere safe and somewhere that isn't on your computer hard drive, because the whole point is you're worried that your computer hard drive, if that hard drive fails, you need to have your backup saved somewhere else. Now, as it said in the hint, it saves it to one single file. So, as you may know, ChessBase databases are made up of many files. So it's going to save it to one file with the extension .cbv. You know, most ChessBase databases, the main extension is a .cbh. Then you get a whole variety of other files with different extensions. But if you're saving to a backup, an archive, it's a .cbv file. And it's kept the name of the database and it's called it .cbv. I'm going to save it to the desktop just for now, so I'll save it to the desktop of my computer. But if you do this, make sure that the next thing you do is save it somewhere safe. So maybe email it to someone or save it to a flash drive, something like that. So once you've done that, you've selected where you're going to save it to. You've selected the name. You can just hit Create New. And you can see only a 2150 game database. It all happens very quickly. If you do this with a bigger database like my Mega there, that's going to take maybe a few seconds, maybe a couple of minutes. But it's very simple for 2000 games. That's done very quickly. And if I just minimize some of my folders here, you'll see we now have a file on my desktop called smithmorra.cbv. That's an archive file. It's a compressed, even if you hold the mouse over it, it says ChessBase compressed database. So that's your backup file now. And you can save that anywhere you like. Don't keep it saved on your computer, save it somewhere else. But that's very useful to have, and very useful to know that your data is now safe, and if the worst happens, if something happens to your computer, you'll always have that backup to call on. Make regular backups as well. Once you've done it once, that's not enough really. I tend to do it, I mean, it's a good idea to maybe do it every few days or every week, depending on how often you change your databases. If I make a lot of changes to a database, I'll do a backup as a matter of course then anyway. But do it as often as you seem necessary, but make sure they're regular backups and save them somewhere safe that isn't on the same computer that you're working on. So there you go, that's how to back up databases in ChessBase.